Hello everybody, my name is Daulton Nelson and today I'd like to talk about a game I just beat, that game being Lisa the First for the PC. Lisa the First was developed and published by Dingaling. It is a 2D top-down perspective adventure game. Dingaling's 2014 game, Lisa the Painful, is my favorite game ever. No joke. It's very well made, is a lot of fun to play, and has a story that is emotionally gut-punching. After playing it, I found out that the game was actually part of a trilogy of Lisa games, with Lisa the First being the first game in the franchise. Interested to see where Dingaling, aka Austin Jorgensen, started out with the concept, I was very eager to play this game here. Now, Lisa the First isn't your conventional adventure game, but is actually a part of a much larger underground movement within video games of absurdist, surrealist adventure games that put much more emphasis on visuals and story than gameplay. This movement includes games such as Yume Nikki, Suits, and Off. I myself am not too familiar with games of this movement, and haven't played any of the aforementioned games, so I was going into Lisa here kind of blind to what a game like this normally contains and offers, and from what I personally got out of Lisa the First, I liked, but I will say that this isn't going to be a game that everyone will enjoy. Some people will find what this game can offer to be a bit bare in terms of content, especially when compared to its successor. Lisa the First is also very short. I'd say it should take you about an hour, if that, to beat the whole thing, although there are challenging parts of the game that you could get stuck on. I got stuck while I was playing the game at times, as what needs to be done can feel a bit ambiguous at times. When I first heard about this game, everyone online said that I should be using a guide while I play it, and that is advice that I will give you as well. There are definitely moments in the game where it is needed. That being said, Dingaling does do a good job teasing at what you need to do to progress through some character dialogue. They'll normally say the item they need, and it's more of a matter of you finding the item that will get you stuck. The font used for Lisa's dialogue boxes can be a bit hard to read at times, but most of the time I could tell what was happening through context clues. The puzzle designs in the game can range from pretty easy to annoying. Look at any criticism of this game, and you'd know that there are these spider enemies in the game that are pretty annoying to deal with, especially in the Bile Road part of the game. Although, if you have the patience and the hand-eye coordination, you'll be able to get through these sections just fine, in my opinion. Lisa the First is also a game where you can get pretty much what you need out of it through a single playthrough. Unless you aren't good with subtext, replaying the game again isn't very necessary. Although from what's here, Dingaling does manage to do a great job with both the visuals and the narrative. The environments and characters within the game can be bright, vibrant, absurd, humorous, and scary. Honestly, the game's look reminds me a lot of the visual design that you could find out of Alejandro Jodorowsky's The Holy Mountain. And the story of the game is very well told. Dingaling does a great job displaying the protagonist's name Lisa, emotions, and thought processes throughout the game using the world and characters. This is a very uncomforting game to play through. It's able to get a lot of empathy out of you just using a little. I especially like the repetition of characters throughout the game, which makes the world of Lisa feel suffocating and despondent. The soundtrack can also range from minimal and creepy to loud and overwhelming. There are a couple of tracks here that carry over into the painful, which makes sense given how powerful these tracks can be in conveying the tone of a scene. The use of sound effects is also pretty well done. There are lots of great decisions being done with the sound of the game overall. I commend that. The structure of the game is pretty simple. You play as Lisa as she goes from world to world, gathering items in order to deal with her dad, Marty. In Lisa, you can move around in 4 directions and interact with things. Most of the objects you interact with will give you some sort of clue on what Lisa's situation is and how her father is involved with it. Lisa the First also has a bit of an inventory system that you can access at any time throughout the game. I like that this inventory space feels kind of like we're going into Lisa's psyche. You can also go to the game's hub, called the lobby, at any time as well. if you get lost or stuck, or if you want to go back there for saving and quitting. There will seem like there is only like 3 characters in the game, although Dingling manages to use repetition to his advantage here to give you a much broader look at a character through his or her different versions that he or she is portrayed as. This is especially true for the character Marty, who I think is the most complex here. And that's really it without getting into spoilers. Overall, I liked my experience playing Lisa the First. It was very interesting seeing where Jorgensen started with this concept, and what he was able to do with this surrealist adventure genre. That being said, I feel like this isn't a game you should pick up first when playing the franchise. I'd still recommend you play Lisa the Painful any day of the week. Once you're done playing that game, and are interested in the developer of the game like I was, then you should give this a shot. Although I will say that even then, not everyone going into this will like this game. It's got a lot of flaws, but it's also got a lot to like. So maybe do some YouTube watching of this game first, before deciding to play it. As for me, I'm going to give it a 5 or 6 out of 10, I can't really decide. Looking at the first as a standalone title, there is a lot of potential here. But the design of the game definitely needs to be improved upon a lot, which is something Jorgensen would do with leaps and bounds with his next project. If you find yourself agreeing with my opinions most of the time, give this a shot. If you're a bit on the fence, do a little research like I said earlier on the game, before getting into it. Just please, for the love of God, don't spoil yourself on the themes of this game. You owe yourself that much. That concludes my review of Lisa the First. If you like my reviews, you can like, comment, or subscribe. I also have social media links down in the description below, as well as a link to my online portfolio to see video game design works that I have done. And with that out of the way, please make sure to have a nice day.